Welcome to the hunt.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, Huntcast Podcast. Glad to have you here on July the 21st, episode number 17. We're going to talk a little bit about deer scouting, summer style.
Hot and sweaty style.
Hot and sweaty style.
Yeah.
Bug infested.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, so we decided our special guest couldn't make it this evening. So we figured end of July is basically upon us.
Yep.
August is right around the corner. And if you haven't started scouting, well, you're kind of behind the eight ball a little bit.
Yeah.
So we're going to go over some stuff about what you should be doing right now, getting ready for the season as far as scouting. So obviously right now we know bucks are in their bachelor groups.
Yep.
They all get along right now. It's like, you go in the bar with your favorite buddies, and
yeah,
by the time deer season rolls around, you don't want to talk to anybody anymore.
Yep.
Same idea.
Yep.
So we're going to give you some facts, and the facts that we have are coming from Outdoor Life. Interesting, fun facts.
Okay.
So right now, this time of year, midsummer, you will see groups of 2 to 8 bucks hanging out.
Yeah.
Which is, if you drive around late at night, you're late in the evening, I should say, not late at night, but late in the evening as sunset and it's getting a little darker, get out around some of the farm fields, ag fields, and you'll see a bunch of bucks kind of just chilling out.
Yeah.
And those groups are basically bucks of all ages. So they are normally not related and can be of any age.
Yeah.
But they're, they get along, but there's a pecking order as of right now.
Yeah.
And they'll use, looks like with their boxing, they'll start throwing holes at each other, kind of showing who's boss. Hey, listen, that's my acorn.
Yeah.
Type of thing. But
I think that starts now. So that pecking order is being established now,
right,
for the rut, for the fall.
Yep.
So it starts now.
Exactly. And that's exactly why they do it. So they're trying to, hey, I have first dibs on the chicks when they come in.
Yeah.
But, right now people think sometimes they're just playing.
Yeah.
And they are to an extent, but they're setting the order of how it's going to go when the rut gets here.
And a lot of that is because, this is the time of year, June and July, when there's new bucks in the area, because the little guys have been kicked out by mama.
What?
And they kind of wander around. They try to find a new home range, and they finally settle in.
What?
And, it's like that, the new kid at school. There's a group of guys that have been there forever, and there's a new kid that shows up in the cafeteria and,
doesn't know who to sit with.
Exactly. Got to kind of feel each other out. And,
right.
But yeah, that's what's going on right now. So the bucks have been kicked out by mama, the young guys, and now they wander and they find their home range and they're settling in. So
absolutely. Yep. So basically right now, if you aren't out on your property or public land or wherever it is that you have, you should be. No one likes walking around the woods in the dead of summer, sweating to death and dealing with ticks and bugs and everything else.
Yeah.
But if you are a serious hunter, you should definitely be out.
Yes.
So the longer you wait, the more you can mess your hunts up come October, because as we get into August, the testosterone levels of all the buck start to go up.
Mm-hmm.
That's when their antlers are going to start hardening. They're going to start rubbing to get velvet off. And the bachelor groups are no more. Yeah. They had enough of each other.
Yep. Every man for himself.
No more drinking together and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So right now, what Outdoor Life calls long range, low impact scouting, which is true.
Yeah.
You don't want to be walking all over your property and traipsing around stuff, and especially if you're not wearing, some sort of scent spray or something, you're sweating a lot, you're gonna leave scent around. And the goal is this time of year, you don't want to give the deer any information they don't need.
Yeah.
Come hunting season. So, walk, stay on field edges, don't go into where your sweet spot is and mess it all up.
Yeah.
Just get out, glass is the most important part. We had, holy cow, we had Tyler. Thank you. My brain just like nothing.
Yeah.
But Alpine Optics last week, we were talking about binoculars, and use your glass, use spotting scopes, just sit somewhere that you have a vantage point of a decent chunk of property.
That's it.
See what's there.
Yep. Park your truck, and just, at the highest point or whatever, and as far as you can see, and just kind of hang out in glass. That last hour of light's a good time to do it. Yeah, that's really the best way.
Yep.
And then as the season gets closer, you kind of narrow it down.
Right, we're going to change it up a little bit.
You try to narrow it down and pinpoint, but right now it's just kind of a broad area.
See what's out there. You're doing inventory without counting every peg.
Yeah. Yep.
So that way, again, you're not, even if you just sat in your truck, you can stay in the truck. You don't even get out of the truck if you could see a whole bunch of space on the property and just sit and glass. But as it says in outdoor life, if you are walking, you may bump some deer.
Yeah.
A few bucks, no big deal.
No.
Just be smart about it. Don't set them off. Don't alert them to more than what they need to know.
Yeah.
And let them forget about it. So come October, you're not, playing that game of, man, they know I'm here.
Yeah.
So basically the next couple weeks is that low impact, just lay low, just check some stuff out. But if you are going in, Doug and I, because we go out and do food plots and stuff, it's make sure you have bug spray, tick spray if possible.
Yep. And
depending on where you're walking, roll them socks up over the pants, because the less things you got creepy crawling on with, the better.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
Thankfully, I haven't had any embedded this year, but I've had a few on me. And it's not fun because you get the heebie-jeebies after the fact and you think there's something crawling there all the time.
Yeah.
But so Doug was just talking about their home ranges, and biologists actually state that this time of year going into August is they're genetically programmed to set up their home range near food sources, heavy bedding, so that they can start getting ready for September, October, November for rut and whatnot. So,
and the other thing too is, and I'm not sure if there's any kind of real proof or data of this, but it seems like this is like, we're talking about taking inventory of them. Mm-hmm. This is probably when those bucks are starting to take inventory of the does.
Absolutely.
Where are they? Where are these does hanging out? They kind of probably are scouting them and saying, okay, where are they going to be?
Right.
And so I'm assuming that's what they're doing as well.
It's kind of like when, as a kid, when you went to the bar with all your buddies, all the girls were in one corner and all the guys were in another corner.
Yeah.
And okay, I got to walk over to that corner over there.
Yeah. Take inventory.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but, so right now as well is if you're not using cameras are the key at this point, because this helps you get this low impact scouting done. Yeah. Because you don't have to be in there. So it helps you in those sweet spots that you per se call sweet spots, whether it's where your tree stands are, where a funnel is, where there's a food source, where there's bedding, something that will help you where you don't have to go in there all the time, with cell cams, and let it do the work for you. And you just work on glassing and keeping an eye on things slowly.
Yeah.
And then getting into August is basically when you're going to want to start figuring out that target buck, because their antlers are starting to harden. So right now, the key is, they say in velvet, a deer's antler grows an inch per day.
Yeah, I guess it could, depending upon conditions and food and that kind of stuff. But yeah, absolutely.
So I know I have a buck that just started showing up on camera, and good buck. I'm thinking he may be the buck that I missed last year, but he's big. But, with all that velvet on there, it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
But so August is when, those mid-August to late August is when those cell cams are going to do justice for the amount of money you spend on them to tell me, that's the buck, that I want this year.
Yeah. Yep. So the other thing too is, like with the low impact, there's there's like two different theories to that, right? Depends on where you hunt. Like where we are here in Northeast PA, there's a lot of, it's kind of densely populated in some areas. In some places are real rural. I think the deer, some guys have the idea, well, the more they see me and they see people, the more used they'll be to people, right? So, because I mean, there's guys that will set up like silhouettes, cardboard cutouts, put it in their blind, so that deer sees a silhouette in that blind every time he sees the blind. So you can go 180 and go the opposite direction and say, some guys feel like the more they see me, the more they'll be used to me, and they won't get freaked out. Like, that's like a farmer. He's on his tractor and he's rolling within 30 yards of these deer out in the field because they see him every day, and it's there. He's not a threat anymore. Right. My dad feeds him off his back porch every night, in his little development. So the deer, sometimes, I guess it could be a benefit if the more they see, the more activity, they might get used to you. It's two different theories. And again, it depends on where you hunt. If you're hunting, up in the mountains where there's no pressure, and you're going to freak the deer out. But if you're hunting kind of suburban, kind of like where we are, you're not going to freak them out too much because they see people and they see dogs and they see kids playing and they see, people every day. So it doesn't freak him out as much.
No. And I mean, to attest to that is a good friend of ours owns an outfitter out in Illinois, and literally he'll drive you right out into the field so that you can get to your stand easier. And as long as he doesn't shut the truck off, the deer will stand in that field. Right. If we care less that you're there. Yep. If you shut the truck off, different story.
Yes. Well, now they know. Right. Here comes the shot.
So, and obviously in Illinois, it's a lot of ag. So there's a lot of tractors, a lot of truck traffic. Yeah. But they're always running. They're not just shutting them off in the middle of the field. So the deer get used to it. Yeah. And like you said, if you're hunting big woods up in the mountains, kind of like out in Western PA, those deer don't see people. Right. So they see a person come in and they're like, whoa, that is going on here. Yes. And around here, it's not that bad, but in certain areas, they do get used to people. Yeah. But in other spots, even though it's more suburban, they still freak out. So, but it was funny, you mentioned the cardboard silhouettes. There's actually a company that makes it looks like a blind. Okay. But it's in the shape of a person. Okay. And it's for your like ladder stands and lock-ons. Oh, okay. And you hang it so it looks like a hunter standing in that stand. Yeah. Well, it makes sense. Right. And now the deer, maybe go, that's been there, all year long.
Well, because that's just it. You hang that stand in, May or June, and 24 hours a day, those deer are looking at that stand, and it's been empty for months and months. Now all of a sudden there's somebody in it. Right. It looks completely different. So I could see that. It's actually it's a good idea.
I can't remember the name of the company. I'd look it up. I can't remember what it's called. But they weren't very expensive. When I saw them.
But it makes total sense.
It's just giving you the same idea as cardboard, but the cardboard, if it's raining in a tree stand, it's going to get wet and fold over. Yeah. Blinds, I can see that. Yeah. But so aside, whatever side of the fence you're on that one, totally up to you. We're kind of playing this on the fact of we don't want the deer to see this. Yeah. So the big thing you should be looking at right now is food, especially if you have alfalfa, beans, clover, corn in your vicinity, because that's where they're going to hit. Yeah. But I like the fact that this is a Pennsylvania biologist that wrote this. Oh, okay. But this is literally quote, "It is no secret that acorns are a favorite. When available, acorns will dominate their diet in fall and winter." And you 100% see that. Yes. So we do a lot of food plots, but even you can have the best food plot on the planet. If there are a ton of acorns on the ground, put a tree stand next to the pile of acorns. No doubt. It's a limited time that they're there, right? So they have to take advantage of them when they are there. It's a little bit.
I just noticed on my property that some of the red acorns from the red oaks, the acorns are starting to drop.
Yep.
Little ones. Whites, I haven't seen any white acorns yet, but they definitely prefer the whites over the red.
Sure.
But I haven't noticed anything white yet.
So I think, so last year, now we've mentioned this before, where Doug hunts and where I hunt, it's as the crow flies about 3 miles.
Yeah.
But last year we had so many acorns.
Yeah.
So many. I haven't seen one on the ground yet.
Yeah.
And so not that I don't want there to be acorns, but I think last year was a mass year.
Yep.
Because I'm not seeing it, but now last year the apples sucked.
Okay.
And we got apples on the trees.
Yeah, it's a cycle.
Yep.
So you just have to know how to play the cycle.
Mm-hmm. And that's, as hunters, that's the key about hunting is you can't just be a hunter. You have to kind of get into it a little bit. You have to know ag, you have to know ecology, you have to know the environment. There's a lot more that goes into it to be a really good hunter and a smart hunter than just like, okay, I'm going to go out in the woods and shoot a deer.
Yeah.
And granted, does it happen? People just, dumb luck, of course.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But at the same time, if you look at everything prior, that's why
you're just increasing your odds.
Yeah,
100%. So why not?
And that's like these guides and outfitters that, whether deer, elk, mule deer, whatever, they're working. People, oh, you only work, it's like teachers. Oh, you only work so many months out of the year. No,
yeah.
They're doing year round. They're checking stuff year round.
Yeah.
That's why I think shed hunting is so important, because it gives me an idea of where are they traveling.
Yep.
What made it through the season, all that fun stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt.
The other big place to look is ridges and bottoms.
Yep.
So ridges obviously gives you a little bit of a vantage point. Deer like to run ridges, saddles, and right in between, kind of just on that side slope. Plus, you can probably find some bedding areas that way.
Yeah.
But, obviously right now it's hard to see down those ridges. So that's where you then go into the bottoms, and that's where you're going to see a lot of the mast, if there's mast there right now, or they're starting to drop.
Yeah.
To what you can expect come October, because those trees are going to flourish a lot better in the bottom that has better soil, better nutrients, so on and so forth, rather than getting beat on by the sun all day up on a ridge somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Typically there's more moisture in the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Water runs downhill, obviously. So all that water's running off the hills, off those ridges down to the bottom.
Bringing nutrients with it.
Yep. So, yeah, but it's just tough. Like I said, it's just tough this time of year because you can't see much.
Right.
But you are better off, seeing a little bit than nothing at all.
Yep,
so
exactly.
Get out there and do it.
100%. And so with this whole acorn deal, it'll go on to tell you if a big crop of acorns comes in September, the deer are going to concentrate in the timber where those acorns are.
Yeah.
If there's not a big mast year, they're going to scatter and move, and that's where the food plots come into play. So currently in our area, Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, I think we're in zone 10, hardiness zone 10. Planting, seeding next month for fall, winter is very important. So that will be a conversation we'll probably have in the next couple of weeks before it gets really too late to plant. But so that's why we do what we do, because if there's not mast in the trees, well, now you're giving yourself the advantage of putting food out there for them and letting them come to you.
Yeah.
So finding the right places to do that is still important. You can't just, I'm going to plant some stuff right here. It just doesn't work that way. You still got to find travel corridors.
Yeah, no doubt. And, this time of year too, I like to go out and find those trees, find that big monster white oak, because it's just a matter of time. That's where they're going to be. I happen to have my tree stand strapped to a monster white oak, but that's what you need to do, because that's the magnet. That's the buck magnet, is the white oak. So if you have them in your area, locate them, and the bucks will be there. No doubt.
So aside from food, you're going to look for cover bedding areas. So everybody hates them. Briars, pickers, as we call them here in Pennsylvania.
Yep.
you find some really thick pockets of that stuff, and I can guarantee you there's deer bedding in it.
No doubt. No doubt.
So according to the biologist here, is the vegetation is thick enough to hide 90% of the deer at 200 yards. So keep that in your head. If you're standing right up on a thicket of pickers or briars or, super thick vegetation, but you can see in there at that close, that's okay.
Yeah.
They're not looking for the close-up protection. They're looking for a coyote coming in and checking the area out, but they can't be seen from a distance. If the coyote gets close, it at least gives them enough time to skedaddle.
Yeah.
If they can see it. So they can probably see out. The goal is you don't want to be able to see in.
Yeah.
And then, we just mentioned funnels. Funnels are huge. That's what they're using between bedding habitats and food sources to travel so that they're not seen. And obviously not every property has the perfect funnel, but you figure it out.
Yeah. Yep.
The buck that I was after last year, he kept walking in this one specific spot, but I couldn't figure out why. I could still see him from my stand, but I couldn't figure out why he kept going that way.
Yeah.
And sure enough, you get on a LiDAR map and you can see a depression, and he felt comfortable walking in that little ravine.
Yeah.
It wasn't really a ravine to me, but for him it was.
Yeah, just that little change of elevation.
Mm-hmm.
If it hides his profile, then that's all they're looking for.
100%.
And getting back to your thickets and your prickers, like you're saying, just because if you have enough property, if you don't have those little pockets of thick stuff, you need to make them.
Yep, 100%.
And it's so simple to do. You just cut trees down
and just
open it up. You open that canopy, and Mother Nature will just take over.
Yep.
And it's amazing. Once you clear cut a little section, in probably 2 seasons, you won't be able to walk through there.
Right.
I've got spots. I clear cut a little 10-acre piece up by my place at my camp about, I don't know. It's been a while now. It's probably 9-10 years now. And when we first cut it, it was wide open. It was just like a field.
Yep.
And within 2 years, you could not walk through it.
Yep.
It was just impenetrable.
Right.
And the deer loved it.
Sure.
And that's what you need to do.
And that's where even hinge cutting comes into play, because hinge cutting, not only when you cut those trees now, and you're not really cutting them, you're hinging them.
Yeah.
So they're still attached, they're still alive. You're not completely cutting it off.
Yeah.
But it gives them browse for right now.
Yep.
Because it's got green leaves on it and all that fun stuff. But same thing, you took that canopy down from above, allow sun to penetrate in.
Yeah.
So now you have all these crisscross trees laying on the ground that they're feeding on this year, but next year you're going to have crap growing up through it.
Yes.
Now,
because eventually those trees will die off. That hinge cutting, it's so important, because it just benefits in so many different ways. It gives them cover, it gives them food, and it allows for, future growth of the undergrowth.
Right.
And I know he's listening. Brian, I know you're listening. You're probably laughing your ass off right now at me, because he's been asking me, he's been telling me we need to get up to camp and hinge cut and get out there. And I just keep pushing off. So, he hears me talking about how important it is. I get it. I've been busy, but yes, I know he's listening and he's laughing right now. So,
nice.
But yes, it is. It's really important. It can really change the habitat.
For sure.
So,
for sure. And so we've mentioned, numerous episodes that we go out and do food plots and stuff like this for customers. And the one that we're going to go here in the next couple of weeks to get wrapped up, we had a logger come in and clear out 2 areas for the food plots that we're putting in.
Yeah.
And this same logger had select cut that property a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And the one thing that, it was good to an extent, bad just because there was a lot of it, but he leaves all the tops.
Yeah.
And so by doing that, people sometimes get aggravated because it looks like a bunch of junk laying in the woods, which when it's too much, it does look like junk in the woods.
Yeah.
But by leaving the tops in there, it protects some of the young trees coming up, so the deer don't just kill them as soon as they come up.
Yeah.
But it also creates bedding because
it's safety.
Right. They can get in there and intertwine themselves in these tops.
Yeah.
And lay in there and feel safe.
No doubt.
And then when he just logged, he basically banked the food plots for us.
Yeah.
So the deer have one way in, one way out. Two ways in, two ways out, I guess. But he basically banked all the sides. So now they have cover outside that food plot.
Yeah.
Where they can kind of mull until they're like, no, it's safe. I can walk out
it's
there.
kind of a staging area.
Yeah.
They'll kind of gather in their stage before they get out into the plot, out into the open.
So if you don't have, if you don't have the ability to do it yourself, find a logger that knows what they're doing. Don't just hire somebody to come in and wipe out stuff.
Yeah. And you'll make some money doing it.
Mm-hmm. Depending on what the lumber is.
The timber is worth some money. So you'll get it done for free, basically, and then put some money in your pocket.
Right,
so
exactly.
It's a win-win. It really is.
But in a wood cutting situation, obviously, you're not going to have a logger do that. That's pretty simple.
Yeah.
And they don't have to be big trees. They can be,
No, the smaller the better.
Yeah.
Small. Usually 4, 6, 8 inches in diameter. That 8 is about it. I don't like to go anything bigger than 8. But those little 4-inch and 6-inch trees that...
Because they'll stay alive a little bit longer than something wider would.
Yeah.
And it's tastier because they're young.
Yep.
It's kind of like veal.
Yeah.
What do you think the most common overlooked piece of information that people don't look at right now when they're out scouting?
So I guess what you like sign, like what sign are you looking for, or what's available that you're not really paying attention to?
I look for 3 major things when I go out.
So right now it's going to be food.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be bedding.
Well, I'm talking regular sign, so not just habitat, but sign itself, like what the deer are doing. 3 things I look for.
I don't know. What else are they doing now?
So
they're eating. I mean, they're eating now. That's their life is eat right now. So, but water is an important part too.
Okay, so there's one of my 3.
Yeah. You got to find the water.
Right. Find water.
Because they have to drink. Right. Especially like this now.
Yeah.
It's real hot like this, and that's definitely a big tell. So definitely got to find the water. I don't know what else you got.
Number 2 would be community scrapes.
Yeah.
So deer scrape all the time.
Yep.
It's not just during the rut. Don't get confused that that's just a thing that happens in the rut.
Yeah.
So that's how they talk to each other. It's their phone. So you'll find community scrapes, which are really big.
Yep.
Usually 4 to 6 foot round scraped up areas.
Yeah.
They're leaving scent there. They're doing all kinds of stuff to talk to each other. So that's my second big thing. My third big thing is last year's rubs.
Yeah.
So that, the trees that have been raked up that are healing, you'll know they're healing because it doesn't look shiny and there's not a bunch of wood chips laying below it.
Yeah. And they're kind of hard to see right now too.
Right.
You have to like step on them.
Yeah.
You're not going to see them from 100 yards like you do in the fall,
But that tells me, what way that deer happened to be traveling last year.
Yeah.
And if it's the same buck, hopefully he follows the same path.
Yeah.
So it gives you a better idea of, if you're looking to set up a stand that, I have an extra stand in the garage, I'm going to go put it up, but you don't know where.
Yeah.
Find that mapping.
Yeah.
Find where he was
rub line.
Mm-hmm.
And, listen, these bucks, it's not just that one buck. It's generational. These travel corridors, they don't really change much from generation to generation. So even if you did kill a buck last year, another buck's going to take over that area, and they had the same instincts.
Right.
So they'll look for the same thing as far as travel patterns and food sources. So the new bucks are going to be using the same trails and the same ridges and the same everything that the ones from last year or 10 years or even 50 years ago. So, it's really common to see, a brand new rub in October and there's an old scarred tree from 5 years ago.
Yep.
So it's their instincts are generational, and they're looking for these bucks today are looking for the same things that those bucks from 20 years ago were looking for.
Right.
So
it's funny. So I know Doug wasn't reading this because I was reading while he was talking. So what he literally just talked about was they all do the same thing. They look for a path of least resistance. They look for the right food. They look for water. So in Michigan, there was a study. They took a herd of whitetails out of a large enclosure. And for 3 years, they didn't put any deer back in there. On the 4th year, they got put back in the pen.
Okay.
That fall, the new bucks, not the ones that were there, new bucks got put in and immediately followed a rub line from 4 years prior to deer that they weren't even around.
Right.
So when you can find those old clusters and rubs, that's the spot. Hey, you got that extra stand, you want to get something.
Yeah.
The goal is obviously find the rub line, get a stand on the front of it and on the end of it. Even the setting, you don't put it right on the line because obviously you're going to get picked up really quick, but find that area where it gives you a shot of a deer coming down that rub line.
Yeah.
But water, don't mention water. Water's huge for me. We have a lot of ponds on our property.
Yeah. So
I try to stay in and around those ponds, whether it's deer or bear, because the bear like to swim in it.
Yeah.
But I don't ever see deer drinking out of the pond, but I know they go there.
Yeah. So
they're not going to do it when I'm there. They're going to do it when they're out feeding.
Yeah.
So that's probably why I've never seen one.
Yeah, middle of the night.
Right. So, but that's, a lot of people, well, what are you putting a water feature in for? Well, they still need to drink. They're like any other animal.
Yeah.
So, these guys that go out and buy, like we installed last year on the property, a water feeder, basically a water tank.
Yeah. Yeah, just
might have been a pond, right?
Yeah.
No, that was the trough we got last year. But it don't have to be buried. Just get it in the ground a little bit. Yeah. Put it out in front of your stand. Yes. Where do you see what'll happen?
Yeah, and deer prefer stagnant water. Yeah. They don't want clean, fresh water that's flowing. They want nasty, disgusting, green, stagnant water for some reason. Yep. But that's what they like. Yeah. So
the stick. Yeah. Put the stick in there in case something falls in.
Yeah, they can get out. You don't want rotting squirrels. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, water is real important. So now I think water is going to be less important as the season goes on.
Sure.
Once it cools down and there's heavy dew, now the deer can gain their water just by browsing. Yeah. And, they're getting plenty of water that way. But like this time of year, when it's real dry and there's no dew in the morning, water is really important up until, October probably. And it's still important. Even October, November, it's still important.
Sure.
But it's not as important.
Yep. And you'll see a lot of guys hunt creek bottoms.
Yeah.
And even though they don't like that water, that's not their preferred drink of choice.
Yeah.
They will, follow creek bottoms because there's water there.
Yes.
The nutrients are good in the soil around a creek. So
usually there's some green lush something growing in there. And those creek bottoms, they create cover, because they're low typically, and they just feel safe down there.
Yep.
So that's a good point. So creek bottoms are good too.
Yep. So we talked with the low impact, we talked places to look, and we touched on the trail cameras. So the trail cameras this time of year, super, super important.
Yeah.
Because again, you don't want to be in there leaving scent everywhere. You don't want to be spooking bucks that you're going to push if you're in there too much.
Yeah.
So your food sources should be covered with cameras.
Yep.
If you have creek bottoms, if you can 100% find the funnel or funnels on your property in there. And then here's the perfect time if you have that rub line that you can find and set one up.
Yeah.
To or from on that rub line, preferably in the direction of the old. You're going to want to, point it away from that so you can see something coming that way.
Yeah.
And you run cell cameras, I run cell cameras.
Yeah.
The biggest difference is that for the two we run, you run spy points, right?
No, I have, stealth cam. Drawing a blank.
Yeah, I knew it was an S.
A stealth cam.
So I run cutty backs, and the only true difference, you have plans on each camera, right?
Yes.
So each camera, you have to pay an X amount of dollars per month.
Yeah.
Per camera. And you'll get how many pictures?
I think my plan is for like 2,500
a month, right?
Yeah.
So,
which I don't even come close to that.
Yeah, and most people won't. I know there's plans out there for a lot more, and I guess if you're just have it hanging like next to a feeder or something, it'll blow up all day long.
Yeah.
But, so the cutty back, I only have one plan, but I have 20. I can run up to 24 cameras.
Right.
But I get 2,000 pictures for that.
Yeah.
A month. So very similar, but that's the key is the stands that we already have in place that are always there in the same exact spot. There's always a camera there. And then as we get into August, I'll start taking my other cameras that aren't out yet.
Yeah.
And kind of put them in spots where maybe I'll go with a saddle, or I think this is a trail that they're using heavy. What are you looking for when you're putting your cameras up?
Well, typically I'll find those travel corridors, and I'm looking for from point A to point B. I know where the bucks want to go, and I know where they're coming from, but I need to get those cameras set up somewhere in between. So I want to catch them traveling from their bedding to their food source or to the doe bedding areas, right? Because the bucks and does don't bed together. So there's doe areas and there's buck areas. So they're traveling from point A to point B, and I'm trying to cut them off of the path somewhere.
Right.
Because typically, especially, and now, they're not, you'll see them in broad daylight, but typically, those older, smarter bucks they're not going to show themselves, during daylight. So if okay, he's coming out into this food plot at dark, right? Or just before dark, you've got to get 20 minutes back.
Right.
So as he's traveling to get to that, because they time it, they know, okay, if I leave right now, I'm going to get to that food source at dark. You need to get 15, 20 minutes, down range so that you can cut him off before he gets there at dark. So that's what I look for. I look for from point A to point B and try to get in there somewhere in the middle. I like fence lines.
Fence lines are good.
And the other thing with fence lines too is you can kind of push those deer to cross at a certain point. Yep. Now, if it's your property, you can do whatever you want, but don't do this to a farmer that you don't know.
Stuff.
But what you do is you just take that fence, you take that barbed wire, and you just kind of pull the top row, suck it down a little bit, and just give it a little low spot. Yep. And those deer will use that.
Oh yeah.
They're looking for the path of least resistance. Or if it's kind of up high, you can pull the lower one up a little bit.
Right.
Take a zip
underneath it.
Yeah. Take a zip tie, crank it up a little bit. And it's amazing how they will find that, and that'll be the spot. So if you can kind of dictate and push these deer to certain spots for travel, because sometimes, you could have 100, 200 or 300 yards of fence, and, where the hell are they going to jump? You don't know, but you can create a spot that they're happy with, and they will use that spot. So, and you can do that with, adjusting the fence. You can do that with hinge cutting. They don't like to climb through too much crap. Nope. The path of least resistance. So if you can create it uncomfortable in certain spots and make it really comfortable in another spot, that's where they're going to be. That's where you can kind of set up. So we have fence lines I really like, and I also like change in topography, yes, but change in vegetation. So I've got a lot of spots up by my camp where I've got big stands of hardwoods, and then it's going to go into big stands of pine trees and evergreens. And it seems like they travel those edges where they're right on the edge between the hardwoods and the pines. And they've been doing that for the 30 years I've been hunting that place, and they like edges. Yeah. So whether it's an edge of a field, edge of vegetation, different types of vegetation, they like edges. So that's another spot where I will set up my cameras on edges just to see what's cruising there.
For sure.
So
like right now, everything that you should be doing is just pictures.
Yeah.
You don't need video right now. Video, it's the downfall with video right now is, yes, there's a buck walking past the camera every day and you're going to get a picture. You run the video, but come the closer we get to the season, when they're not in their bachelor groups. For instance, this buck that I have on camera right now, he's running with a little forkhorn, and a buck that my wife missed last year, we called him lunch tray. He was a 6 last year, but his rack was as flat as can be. We could have literally put a lunch tray on and it wouldn't have moved.
Yeah.
So those 3 are running around together, and this buck is much bigger. So once those bachelor groups break up, they're kind of coming that way now. One, because I've had feed out since, July. So since like the end of May.
Yeah.
Just to help them, grow antler and all that fun stuff. But come the end of August, when they're starting to break up, now I want video, because I want to see where he's coming from.
Yeah.
What time he's getting there, how long he's hanging out there. Because the picture, unless you have it set on super quick delay, like a half a second, it was just snapping a whole bunch of pictures.
Yeah.
You can't get all of that information, but I don't need all that information right now. I need it when he's going to start changing his ways.
Yeah.
Because now he's a true bachelor. He's going to start looking for ladies. So last year, I literally, if it's the same buck, it looks like he's coming from the same way right now.
Yeah.
But I remember Halloween morning telling my wife, I will be home by 8 a.m. And she's like, what? I said, I'm going to go shoot that buck. I'll be home by 8.
Yeah.
And to a T, within 30 seconds of every morning when he's been walking in there, he was exactly where he should have been at that time.
Yeah.
And that video is what helped me, because the video is what showed me where he was coming from, exactly how long he hung out there.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, it's not a science where he's going to do the same exact thing every day.
Sure.
But that's the key. Now, here's the other thing, and this drives a lot of people nuts. But for me, if you're going to put the work in and you have all these pictures and all these cameras, do you save all your pictures to the computer?
I do.
Uh-huh.
I've got pictures on my computer from 10, 12 years ago. Yep.
So the data, it's the data you're getting from your cameras.
Yes.
If you don't save it, analyze it, look at it, you're wasting your time with cameras.
Yeah.
Stop spending money on cell cameras if you were not going to do anything with the pictures besides look at them.
Yeah.
So that's one reason I like the Cuddy app. I can mark, he's a 2-year-old buck. He's a yearling buck. He's an 8-pointer. He's a 10-pointer.
Yeah.
Every buck or doe that comes in, I can mark, and it goes into a database for me, and then I go back through and look at all of it.
Yeah.
So if you're not using the tool correctly, you're basically spending money on a thing that texts you every time something walks in front of your camera.
No doubt. I love that just for time of year.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go back and I'll look at some of my pictures, and then, it happens to all of us, right? You every day or every couple of days, you're looking for your pictures, and then in September and October, and then bang, all of a sudden, for me, it's Halloween. All of a sudden, Halloween, bam, there's a slammer that just appeared. You've never seen him before. And you kind of make note of that. And then the next year, and then the next year. And, when you start looking back over the years, you'll start to see a pattern.
Oh, yeah.
And you'll know, okay, I need to be in the woods right now, because it seems like within 3 or 4 days of each other, these bucks are showing up within 3 or 4 days of each other every single year. It never changes.
Nope.
And it's not going to change for us. It's not going to change for our kids. It's not going to change for our grandkids. It's the same thing every single year. And you have to pay attention to that.
Yeah. And that's, everybody always says to me, well, what week should I go in? One of our clients, he has a very extensive day job. He doesn't get a lot of vacation time. Hey, what week should I go up to the property? And, I've told him numerous times, listen, the week I don't ever miss is Halloween.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yep.
Now, can I be off by a couple of days? Sure.
Yes, no doubt.
Front or back,
and the weather has
everything
play with that too.
Right,
so.
yeah.
But historically, that's it.
Yeah. And that's what I told him. And maybe I'll try to get 2 weeks this year. And, unfortunately, we can't put the deer in front of anybody. But that's our goal, is to give them a better shot at something. And it's hard. Now, last year he went out that week and didn't see a deer.
Right. Yeah.
I happened to miss my target buck.
Yeah.
That same week.
Yeah.
So obviously the property, what, an hour and 10 minutes from us?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, a little more. Yeah.
So that's, obviously that plays a difference too, but
Yeah.
I killed my bucks in Illinois a day apart from each other.
Yeah.
October 31st, November 1st.
Yep. That's, like my birthday is November 5th.
Right.
My birthday week is always the week I kill a buck.
Mm-hmm.
From Halloween until typically an election day, or it'll run until Veterans Day, but my week is always give or take a day of my birthday.
Right.
November 3rd, November 5th, November 6th,
Mm-hmm.
somewhere right in there, starting with Halloween. And the other thing too about collecting data, and I do it every year, and I did it this year. It's important, like in May, when the fawns are starting to drop.
Yep.
Pay attention to those fawns,
Mm-hmm.
because as soon as I see a new fawn drop, you can go back, you count the days back, you know exactly when that doe was bred.
Right.
So the doe on my property,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of figured it out within a day or two or a couple
Sure.
days to that first week of November,
Mm-hmm.
because I saw the first fawns, and you count back 200 days. I think it's actually 201 or 202 is
Right.
the exact gestation date, amount of gestation days. But I would go back 200 days. And so when they're dropping in May, you go back 200 days, and that's when that doe was bred. And it's always a little bit earlier than what, all the official,
Right.
the rut, they say, the ruts, the peak of the ruts, November
Mhm.
14th, or I don't believe that.
No.
Everything I see, all the data points to Halloween, first week in November. That's when the majority
Right.
of the does are getting bred. So getting back to cameras and saving your, saving your images, that's an important time too. When you see those fawns starting to hit the ground,
Right.
and you'll see it every year. You'll see the pattern. You're going to see, is it the first week of May? Is it the middle of May? Is it the end of May? So you'll see that pattern, and you'll know when the peak of the rut is. It's not rocket science.
Right.
It's simple math.
And that's like Doug said, it falls in these certain weeks. And once you can figure out when that fawn, dropped, because it might have dropped 4 days prior to you seeing it because it didn't walk by one of your cameras.
Yes.
So it just gives you an idea. But again, that's why the data is so important.
Yeah.
So obviously, trail camera is important. And now here's a great place to put a trail camera. So I mentioned the community scrape before.
Yep.
A lot of guys won't start mock scraping until the season starts.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yep.
Do it now.
Mm-hmm.
Get a camera on it. Make it stink.
Yep.
The quote was make it reek of a barnyard.
Yeah.
Of a lot of deer.
Yeah.
So all the deer lure you had from last year, all the pee, all that stuff, throw it in there. Licking branch. Here's where guys go wrong when they're doing a mock scrape. The licking branch needs to be 3 to 4 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
Don't have it dangling, a foot off the ground, because they're not going to use it.
Yeah.
So there's tons of products out there now. We have a couple at the shop from Hodag. A lot of guys are getting in the ropes and the vines, and
yeah,
all of it works. You just got to have it at the right height.
Yep.
Because if you don't, they're not going to use it. So that's the
Yeah.
key. 3 to 4 feet, and make the scrape stake.
Yeah.
Like every deer in the county feed in that scrape.
Yeah.
Because that will bring all the other deer in and go, who's this? I never met them before.
Yeah.
Where did they come from?
Yep.
So
No.
putting a camera there is huge.
Yeah.
Because that's going to help you.
Yep. No doubt. I don't take mine down. I leave.
great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My mocks are up 24/7 all year. I never take them down. Now, I haven't touched mine up. I haven't refreshed it.
Sure.
And
You're using it.
truth be told, the camera died about 2 months ago. I haven't put batteries in it yet. So I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, I leave them up, and I will. I'm going to get out there, change those batteries, obviously, and
Right.
and freshen that up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, with me, well, you know how I am with sense, and
Mhm.
I'm very old school. I just go there. I don't kick it. I've progressed a little bit. Brian has rubbed off on me. I bring a rake with me.
Mm-hmm.
I remove all the leaves. I used to just go in there with my boots and kick it around.
Yep.
I just rake it up a little bit, and then I piss in it.
Yep.
I just piss on the ground, and that's usually all it takes, and it just sets them off.
Yep.
So, but yes, it's definitely time to, if you haven't done them, or if you have old ones, it's time to freshen them up a little bit and get them active again.
Yep. And so I use a tool, not a rake.
Yeah.
I don't use my boot either, but we have a tool at the shop that actually has a hoof print on it.
Yeah.
It has the rear dew hoof.
Yep.
The 2 split hooves on the back of the deer's foot. So I'll go in there with that. But the big thing, obviously, depending on where you are, everything's changing with deer urine. So if you can't use deer urine, the synthetic stuff works. If not, pee in it. Better yet, it doesn't sound real bad, but ask your wife to pee into a bottle.
Yeah.
And dump that in there. It works much better.
Yep.
So, but either way.
I don't see my wife going in the woods with me and squatting on the...
We can get her a P-Bella.
Yeah, I don't see her doing that, but
yeah, no, just a pee in a bottle. It's the easiest thing. Pee in a bottle, and just take it in there with you and dump it.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, it might sound a little weird, but have your buddy go with you.
Yeah,
because if it's just your scent,
right,
then that's
who cares?
It's just one deer,
right?
But now, if you go and pee in it, and your buddy pees in it, now you get 3 or 4 different scents.
Yep.
Now it's a little more attractive, because now they're thinking, oh, there's multiple deer using this as opposed to just one.
Right.
So it sounds a little weird, but yeah, the more scent you can get in there.
That's right. Make it stink.
Yeah.
Make it stink.
Better. So
that's the key. Yep. And then obviously, depending on where you are again, this falls more state-wise than, like in PA, there is some CWD out in the southwest and south central areas. But this is a big one, is minerals.
Yeah.
So I try to stay away from putting mineral out, because in the state of Pennsylvania, you have to have it up 30 days prior to the season. The downfall, what most people don't realize, is if you had it sitting in the dirt on the ground and it's rained, it's done everything, that mineral has seeped into the soil.
Yeah. It'll linger for a long time.
Right. So it's still considered being, especially in the state of Pennsylvania. So there's a few ways to go about this. 1 is don't use it. 2 is use corn. Yeah, because obviously corn will be up off your... Yep. But don't just put corn in it. Give them something else. Give them some horse feed with molasses or something, because the corn doesn't, just like a human, doesn't digest the right way. Yeah. The third, and this is the harder of the 3, is take something, a feed trough, metal sheet. Yeah. You can use a tarp. You can just kind of dig a hole and put a tarp in it and throw the dirt back on top of it. Yep. So this way, with the mineral there, now, like, the trough idea is so that nothing can leak out. Yeah. It's more of a pain in the ass for them to go at it, depending on what kind of trough it is. But now you have nothing leaking into the soil. Yeah. So when the 30-day mark hits, you can just go out and grab your trough and drag it back out, and you're good. Yeah. Our friend in Illinois had started leasing a property that the prior outfitter had a mineral site on. He found it. They called the game wardens like they should. And in Illinois, it's not like, oh, well, just scrape up some of the dirt and, get rid of it. Yeah. They need an excavator. Yeah. Excavator, 30 foot wide, 10 foot deep hole. And then once they got the dirt out, they had to fall trees into the hole. Oh my God. So the deer couldn't eat anything in there. Really? Yeah. They just created a death trap. Pretty much. Pretty much. Kind of odd, Well, yeah, Illinois doesn't play with minerals. Yeah. But now we have states like Jersey, where you can throw a pile of mineral out in front of your deer stand and call it a day. And, and a lot of guys do that. They go to Walmart and they buy a block. And they just throw it down there, and they don't really think about the, the residual effects of it and how it's leaching into the ground, long after you pull that block up. And what's the downfall for some of these guys that, are from states where baiting is legal? Yeah. And when they go to a state and they're doing like a, DIY type hunt,
Yeah.
Whether they leased a property or they're hunting public land, and they take mineral out thinking, it's the norm for them. They don't know any better.
Yeah.
And then a game warden comes in and he's like, well, we're going to have to arrest you. What do you mean?
Yeah. And that, that kind of works with neighbors too.
Mm-hmm.
If you're hunting close to your property line, you're doing everything the right way.
Right.
Your neighbor's got minerals and corn all over the place, then that's a problem for you. You don't even know it's there.
Right.
But if you're within, 50 or 100 yards of it, now you're hunting over bait.
Yep.
So, yeah, some of the laws are kind of crazy, but you just got to be smart about it. Know the laws and just know how to go about it the right way.
Right.
So
now we're going to put it all together. Season's coming up. So Doug will not follow this rule.
I can't wait to hear this.
Yeah. So I'm a big wind guy too. Doug is a huge wind guy.
Yeah.
So Doug, he's going to go in when the wind's blowing this way, and he's going to go walk in this way and only hunt the stand. I will do that to an extent. Early season, I would play the wind.
Yeah.
Just because I don't want to be spooking stuff out. Once that prime time week for me comes in, the wind is in my mind, but it's nowhere near the front.
Yeah.
And this is where I play the whole scent game.
Yeah.
So I will wear rubber gloves. I will spray everything I possibly have to spray on my body to neutralize any odors. I don't do the whole ozonics thing, but the goal is don't leave anything when you're walking into your stand. And the reason I wear rubber gloves is because whether I'm saddle hunting or I'm climbing a tree stand, I wear half-finger gloves when I bow hunt.
Yeah.
So I may have washed my hands 1,000 times before I left the house. I touched the steering wheel of my truck, I opened the tailgate, I did whatever. So I wear rubber gloves while climbing so I don't leave smell on the ladder or on my sticks or anything. And then once I'm in my stand, then I go to normal. But
yeah,
I can honestly say I've never had a deer bust me for smell.
Okay.
While I was in my stand.
Yeah.
I've had them see me. I made too quick of a movement or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I just told somebody this the other day because they were all worried about scent, wind, and all this stuff. And I said, listen, my uncle used to smoke a pack of cigarettes a day.
Yep.
He'd smoke on the road to stand, in the stand, shoot a deer, and smoke on the way out.
Yep.
So.
And stop at the gas station and fill up his truck.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. So.
Yep.
It's all got to go together, and that's why you just got to put it all together.
That's it. You just find a happy medium,
right?
What you're willing to do and what,
And if you're starting now, and this is the whole point of this episode was, if you're starting now, you're giving yourself the advantage of, okay, yeah, I had to stop. Like Doug just said, oh, I forgot to get diesel last night. And you pump diesel fuel into your truck on the way to your hunting property.
Right.
You're going to stink. I don't care. My hand smells every time I touch a diesel pump.
Yes.
So the goal is to put the work in now.
Yeah.
So that you limit the extent of bad things, or I don't want to say bad things going wrong because of a wind or scent or whatever. So,
but, honestly, and going back to, making the deer comfortable, we spoke, a while back about that, but, diesel fuel is probably the least of your worries. Because they smell it on the tractors, they smell it on trucks that drive by on the highway. Diesel fuel, if you're going to smell like something, maybe diesel fuel is not the worst thing to smell like, honestly. Right. So I used to hunt a farm when I was younger, when I was going to school. Yeah.
And it was cow farm. And me and the son of the owner, the farm owner, we would go down to the cow barn and walk through liquid cow shit.
No doubt. Because that's all the deer smell.
Yep.
That's what they're expecting to smell.
And I would want to puke sitting in a stand because I stunk.
Yes.
Man.
Yeah.
We killed a lot of bull that way.
Yeah. So it's all about just fitting into the environment. If your environment is full of cow shit, then that's what you should smell like.
Mm-hmm.
If it's corn, maybe, you want to work with corn scents. If it's, whatever it may be, you just want to kind of blend in and not stick out. So
100%.
Yeah. So
So hopefully this episode helped you a little bit to get you through the summer, to get ready for the season. Other big thing is tomorrow, the 22nd. If you're a Pennsylvania resident, it is our second round of antlerless tags.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling tomorrow the internet's going to be broken again.
Yeah. Well, I probably should buy my license. I haven't got it yet. So I have no doe tags. I don't have a license. So,
So I
need to do that. I suppose.
First little tag was done.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I don't know. I might just drive to Walmart or something. I don't know if I want to jump online and do that again.
Yeah, right.
We did the licenses online like the third day in, and there was no problems. But
yeah,
that was a guaranteed first tag. So whatever you picked, you were pretty much dead set getting it. Unfortunately, our area, those tags go pretty fast. And now with the second round coming up after the first round of non-residents, so we'll see what happens.
Have you looked at the numbers? Are there tags available?
I don't like looking at it
because 3D typically goes pretty quick.
Yeah, and I didn't look, but last year there was a lot. I mean, I got to my third tag before we ran out.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
third round.
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. So you can right now technically you can have in possession 3 tags, and you can get 3 more if they're still available.
Yeah.
Depending on whatever unit you want to go into.
So you have one.
I have one. Maria has one.
Okay.
So we'll do second rounds tomorrow,
which you should get.
I would hope.
So you should have 2 each.
Yep. And then if there's anything left, I usually go. If there's some left in our unit, I try to get it. If not, I will do the unit up in Wyoming County the farm I used to hunt. Because it's just doe tag.
Is that 3C?
3B.
3B.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's weird. 3C, 3B, 3D all split kind of like in one area. The 81 is kind of a divider.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple other little spots where, especially 3B and C, kind of jump around each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, so again, that starts tomorrow morning, 12 hours from now. And
I suppose I could get my license tonight and get in the first round.
Well, you'll get in the second round. Because the first round.
Oh, it didn't it doesn't run up to it. So it ended like a week ago or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. No, it ended the 7th of July.
Okay. Yeah. So 8 weeks ago.
Yeah. The
2 weeks ago.
Non-resident came in.
Right.
And now second round residents go in.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. And you know this. I haven't drawn a doe tag in PA in ever. It's been, 10 years. I just haven't done it. So every year I say I'm going to, but I never do. So we'll see if I do it tomorrow.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you guys tuning in. If you have any questions, would like to contact us, or have something you'd like to hear us talk about.
Yeah. Any ideas?
Shoot us an email at hunkcastpodcast@gmail.com. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, no TikTok, and YouTube. And we will be back with a video. So unfortunately, I lost a piece to our tripod, so I have to go get a new tripod. I have no idea where it went. Yeah. Anyway, we appreciate you tuning in. We'll be back next Sunday, the 28th, for episode number 18.
Yes.
And we will have Brian Hale will be our special guest from Elk County Outfitters.
Okay.
And talk about a little PA elk hunting next week.
Nice.
So,
yeah.
Until then, give us a shout, follow us, comment, whatever you'd like to do. Yep. Everywhere except for Apple. And we'll talk to you soon.
Yep. See you.